And I think we're live. We are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Let me make sure. Let me do a couple of checks here to make sure that we are live and everything is looking and sounding good. I think let me pause that. Okay. Welcome to Struggle Security Channel. As you see here, you see a little bit of branding here. You see, I have hashtag TechAvengers. TechAvengers. What is that? What is that? We're going to talk more about it. We're going to talk more about it. But I want to say what's up to the people who have already joined. Atonement, we're at 1 minute. Welcome to the chat. Also, Sir Octavius of Williamsburg. Welcome to the chat, man. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for coming through and making it to the thing. I know this is holiday season. People, a lot of you are probably with your families, just taking a little bit of time aside from work. And same here. I've been off all week. So I'm really enjoying the time off. But at the same time, I do want to contribute something to the channel. Want us to get a chance to be able to have some discussion, talk about a couple of things that's been happening in tech because it's kind of crazy. But also want to go over a couple of other subjects that are more specific to cybersecurity or tech as a whole. And we're gonna have, I don't know who'll come through. But one thing that we do have is that the StreamYards link is pinned to the top of the chat. If you have any questions or any discussions that you want to talk about, if you want to join the panel, feel free to jump up. I'm seeing King 318 is here. Salute to you. And before the billions, welcome to the chat. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, let's just go ahead and start it off. I'm gonna do the intro and we're gonna get it started now. Welcome, everybody, to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. It's not easy, but one thing that this channel aims to do is to alleviate a lot of you of your struggles within the field of cybersecurity. And really now it's really turning into more tech as a whole, right? I get a lot of people who are professionals within the field who come up on the channel. They contribute to expressing their experiences, and it's really becoming something else, right? It's really becoming like a community where you discuss a lot of these topics. I know I've had a couple of times, I've had some streams that were scheduled for certain times, but family stuff comes up, right? I had a couple of close family friends' mother had passed, so definitely needed to be there for them, and there was some family stuff happening. So life was life. And so happy to be here with you now, though. But please forgive me for those don't. Please for the times which I haven't been there, but life is going to come up, so there are times where I might have to reschedule. So to always feel free to tune in and check out your notifications if things come up, and if things change, maybe even sometimes last minute. For the beans, he said he's going to come up in a second. Dope. Atkins says we are here for the struggle family. Yeah, welcome as always. Wire Dog, welcome. The logo and everything. He says salute to all. He also has a cybersecurity channel himself where he goes to a lot of different topics and discussions. Flacco Rich, yeah, he says salute. Yeah, welcome Flacco Rich. Welcome. And Wire Dog, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, especially if this is your first time here. We kind of discuss a lot of different topics in tech, more specifically cybersecurity, but we always drifting wherever the tech wind blows. So we talk about a lot of different things. So we're not married only to cybersecurity during these live streams, but we primarily talk about that. What's up, Red? Yeah, welcome to the chat, Red. Welcome through. So the first thing that we want to talk about is just overall tech news. What's been going on? What has been going on? It's kind of crazy. Here, let me put that as the banner. It's kind of crazy what's been going on in the tech news, and we are joined by our first individual one of the TechAvengers, right? We joined by him, and the first thing that we're going to be talking about is tech news. And Professor Black Ops, feel free to introduce yourself because there might be some new people
Okay.
here. Yeah.
I'm Professor Black Ops. I'm the oldest Avenger now. So I've been in tech for about 30 years, in cybersecurity about 15. Just different things, as you know, we talk about as you progress in there. I've been a programmer, DBA, web admin, application admin, and finally got over to cybersecurity now. I do more GRC, that paperwork, policy, procedures, incident response. Just getting security requirements to the tech teams. That's pretty much what I do. Shout out to Wired Dog with that beautiful logo. I need to catch up with my logo
Indeed.
game.
Man, you gotta use that Chat GPT, that Dolly, man, and now they're even doing voice to images now. I don't know if you've seen the recent
I haven't
developments
seen
for OpenAI. Yeah, you can create a logo just like that, just like that. And Red says she's in tech too. I believe you. We
that. Shout out
believe
to
you.
Red.
Yeah, she said PBO, salute PBO. Everybody saying salute to, like you mentioned, you said the oldest Avenger. So welcome.
The oldest
Thank you
Avenger.
for coming through, man.
No,
So
no
kind
problem.
of so with this OpenAI stuff, and feel free to chime in anytime. So a couple of days or last week, the CEO, right? Altman. What's his name specifically? What's his name?
I thought it was Sam Altman.
Sam Altman.
I
Sam
think it's
Altman,
Sam Altman.
the CEO of OpenAI. And for those who don't know, OpenAI is the maker of ChatGPT, which started this whole AI revolution. Everybody's like, AI coming through, it's going to take your jobs, this and that. It's going to become sentient and pretty much rule the world, right? So ChatGPT kind of kicked it all off. So Sam Altman was the CEO, and he was voted out or fired by the board of directors for OpenAI. They have a lot of different structures or different like holding companies, but the board of directors is the one that makes decisions for the pathway of the organization. So they fired him maybe like 3 days ago or so, or sometime last week. Now, then he tried to return, right? He tried to return, but they say he couldn't return. Then Microsoft, right, one of the tech giants, hired him on or offered him a role. Then over 500 or so out of the 700 OpenAI employees had said that they were going to resign as a result of Sam Altman leaving. And now today, this is as it concerns this morning. Today, here, let me pull this up. Let me just pull this up. Share screen. And as of today, this is the most recent thing that OpenAI has said about what's going on. And it says, we have reached an agreement in principle for Sam to return to OpenAI. This is this morning, this is today, November 22nd, 1 a.m. So they want him to return to OpenAI as CEO with an initial board of Brett Taylor. I don't know who that is, Larry Summers, and Adam D'Angelo. I think that's a restructuring of their board of directors. So I think this is a new group of board of directors. Maybe not new, but I think there's one individual that remains from the previous board. It says, we are collaborating to figure out the details, and thank you so much for your patience and through this. So what are some of your initial thoughts here? This is just a mess, is
Well,
what I'm
for,
is what I'm
well,
seeing.
well,
Yeah.
for me, and I think like you hit it, but the thing you forgot to add in there is Microsoft invested $10 billion in the Chat GP, right?
Okay.
So they're gonna have a lot
Yeah.
of sway over the board, right? You work for
Yeah.
big companies with boards now. Cybersecurity, I gave some information to a CISO. He had to report it at the board because now board wants to know what's going on with cybersecurity because you can get hacked and you can get $1 billion fines now, right? So
Right.
that's part in there. But when you have boards and you got $10 billion, I think it's a power play. And I think
Yeah.
Microsoft's like, hey, we put 10 billion, you better put him back in there, man. So
That's true.
my
That's true.
thing
Right.
is, I
Yeah.
just think Microsoft should just gotta throw another 5 billion and just buy them and just make them a division.
Well, listen, I think that so a lot of times when these large organizations are making investments in tech startups, one thing that's important is that they want to see the viability of the company, right? If your company can't even hold together the CEO, people are saying that they're going to resign as a result. Why would I buy you if you can't even keep the company together? I might just be buying a brand, but if it's not running the way that right to the because what apparently has been the major issue is that there are business minded individuals within OpenAI, but there's also individuals who are more concerned about, I guess, the ethics of artificial intelligence. That's what some of the reports are, right? Some people are like, taking away people's jobs, might become the sentient or the moral. Some people are really like doomsday about it, right? They're like, listen, we don't want this to go so far to the point where it becomes wild and it's replacing humans and killing, right? All types of things. So, having a difference within a company doesn't allow Microsoft to really re-up on their investment, right? Or be able to get their investment back in any way. So their ROI here is it's a problem, right? So yeah, I think that you're right. Like they probably I'm sure Microsoft put a lot of pressure on them in order to make some big decisions. And probably one of the main ones was bring Sam Altman back.
And let's be real, I respect Microsoft. I'm a Linux guy, but Microsoft putting ChatGPT and everything, man. They got it in the code review. So they're like, hey, so I don't think from their perspective, it's not a problem because we can just buy you out. We can just scratch another $10 or $5 billion. What do y'all want to do, man? So for them, I just think it was a little panic. They were like, okay, we're going to bring him in house. Because let's be real, the big top 100, they printing money, man. They could scratch another $10 billion. It's not gonna hurt their pockets, man. So for them, I don't think it's a problem, man. They just like, hey, we gonna do. And two is like, what's the doctor's name? He always says artificial intelligence is gonna take over the world. So everybody's got different opinions and different thought patterns on it. But
that's true.
Obviously, with anything is you can get a lot of vaporware where it's not happening, but it's so hot that the stock price is just shooting up because it's the next big wave, right? There's been client service, VM. So it's just the next big tech wave, right? It's the cloud now. I think AI is the next big tech wave. So
I think with Microsoft, they've been trying to get a one-up on Google for years, right? Fast. Google search pretty much took over the whole thing. Fast. So Microsoft's one-up on Google right now is ChatGPT, OpenAI. 100%. So it's like I'm sure they put a lot of pressure on OpenAI to make some decisions that align with that billions of dollars of investment. So,
and you're right, because Bing was a failure. They spent probably $1 billion on Bing that was a failure. But that's really, and I think that's what you talk about too personally. What are you going to invest in? What are you going to learn? Everything you do in your career is not going to be a success, right? A lot of times it just needs to stack up and you keep growing on it too. And the other real quick thing is when I was in Silicon Valley, there's a lot of millionaires where people buy companies and they just slid it into their division.
That's it.
Where the product, so a lot of people don't know, man. There's a lot of millionaires where, of course, ChatGPT was huge, but there's a lot of small companies get bought every day for 10 million, 20 million, and you never heard it. And it's just a little widget in Azure, a little widget in AWS. This other feature somebody missed in an Oracle database. So there's millions of dollars. I call them widgets where people just buy stuff and add them to their company portfolio. So
absolutely. I want to say what up to a couple of people. With Garage Karate says, "Aya" or "A," one of those. Yeah, one of those. He said one of those. Free Zone Lou says salute and welcome, and Gabe and PBO. Def Racer has said Sam Altman earlier. Garage Karate said 30% of his code is written in ChatGPT. Boom, right? We saw Ben Henry came in the third. Salute to Lou, who had came in. Let's see who else is here. So we're going to answer some of these questions. I'm not a big artificial intelligence person, but I just want to first welcome everybody who just came through. Just say what up. So let's hit one of these first questions. What's the new on Bard? The news on Bard. So Bard, from what I understand, it's a ChatGPT alternative. So it's typically like right now, I think it's like several different levels, like ChatGPT. Bar it's probably at the top right now in functionality and features and everything. Next is probably like Claude 2 and probably Bard, and then it's just a whole bunch of other ones that come after that. That's kind of my understanding of Bard. I don't know any most recent developments, but it definitely utilizes the Google search as a back end or its search mechanism for the Bard AI.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm AI, like you said, cursory. I'm not super in it. I understand what it is. I try to figure out the issues from a cybersecurity perspective too.
And this question might be more aligned, right? What is the security risk for commercial AI, for example, Bing users? So I think one is with that. So I'll hit the application, right? So the application, you're feeding the application information all the time. You're just training it, and it's learning. It even has specific profiles for each person. that is a user. So you're feeding it information, and some of the security risks there with the application is you feeding it proprietary information about your organization that does not want to go out, right? And we've even seen earlier, I think PBO, you did a video about it. OpenAI was hacked, right? ChatGPT was hacked.
Yeah.
Some of that data was exposed to the public and to those threat actors. So you feeding the application proprietary information about your company, it gets hacked, that information becomes public knowledge. So that's one of the security risks there. You got anything else to add on there?
Yeah, like you said, and two is, and the company I work for, they sent out a corporate memo. You do not put corporate secrets or corporate information into any AI, generative AI. They were pretty specific. But what does that mean? Like Gabe said, is you don't put stuff in there because they're taking your information and feeding it out into other algorithms and risk part about that. And I did a video. It wasn't a hack. It was a spillage, meaning I put some stuff in there. Gabe could see it when he wasn't supposed to see it. That's spillage. It's in the system, but it's not where it's supposed to be in the system, right? So if you put corporate data in there by accident, other people can see it. So the two is, and I'm sure we're gonna get there. The theory and the FOMO is it gonna take everybody's job? Is it gonna take everybody out, right? So I'm sure we're gonna get to that, right?
What you think of? Well, let's hit up some of these comments. And then we can move on to that one next. So it says Microsoft was actually okay with Sam leaving. All the top engineers and Sam were all headed to Microsoft. Yeah, they were. They were. But then look at that investment into OpenAI. What's the purpose of Microsoft investing billions of dollars into OpenAI if the CEO and the top engineers are going over? That's where there's probably some type of breaching contract, some type of breaching in something within their agreement. Because a lot of times when you acquire a company, you expect that company to kind of prove themselves over a period of time to say, hey, was this a good investment? And many times founders and board of directors, they have a financial incentive for being able to keep the company running even after they've been acquired. So it's like 2 to 3 year kind of probationary period where you have to keep things running. You have to prove your value. You have to pretty much say, we were a good acquisition. So if your whole organization crumbles before that period of time is over, then that's where the issue comes in. Yeah.
Casual economists know this because these finance guys. You don't know what NDAs and shit people sign when you come on board is. They might not be able to go over to Microsoft, right? It sounds like Sam could, but you never know because those big companies, man, you start signing NDAs and you got stock options wrapped in there. So it's hard to figure out unless you delve deep. What does that look like?
Absolutely. Yeah, and kind of back to that security risk, right? Bing is banned. He said Bing is banned at work for him, right? Or her. Because ChatGPT. Because you might work for let's see, Bing is banned at work for me because ChatGPT. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So and a lot of small companies, they don't have stuff set up, right? So we got big companies got all kind of like DLP and web filters you can use to block stuff. A lot of smaller companies don't have all of that. So
operational tech takeover. The brother, I think we spoke to him on your panel before, right? He said salute to one of my big brothers. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. Absolutely, same to you. And we're gonna be talking about some of that too, right? The integration between tech and your mental health and your time off and everything. So we'll have a little discussion about that too. Like you said, hit the like button. Lou said ChatGPT running OpenAI now. Well, that's the cash cow, right? That's the thing that's making all the money. So. But that apparently was some of the division in ideal there, right? They're like, ChatGPT can make us a lot of money. Other people are like, ChatGPT can cause us issues as it concerns artificial intelligence and the moral side.
Ethics of it, Long story, if you look at Google, they were supposed to be all that. They fired their top AI ethics person. They got rid of her because she was charging too many problems. So it's a dilemma in there. Shout out to the young B2B in the house.
Absolutely, B2B in the house. I'll wait for him to get his mic and everything together.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Sure. Absolutely, come right back. Yep. And then Garage Karate has said, here, let me put it. Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay, I guess that's where he's at. So that's where Bart is.
Okay. Shout out to them
for sure. Yep. So kind of. The next one is, I did want to kind of do like a little overview back because I think it's still kind of little bit of a mystery as it concerns this TechAvengers thing, but I had some ideas about it, and everybody can feel free to jump in as they see fit. So kind of with the TechAvengers thing, I know a lot of our discussions on these panels, it just kind of get into just overall tech information, tech content. A lot of us are content creators. We're putting out information continuously, not even necessarily just cybersecurity, but just tech as a whole, right? Even some of the discussion that just happened there about OpenAI and ChatGPT. So one thing, so I kind of got, I wouldn't say like a mission statement, but just an idea. It says group. So I'm thinking like it could be a group of tech professionals and content creators who desire to positively contribute, discuss, and impact the digital tech ecosystem with advice, projects, and personal experiences, right? And those are the three areas that I think are really important there. The advice, the projects, and the personal experiences. And kind of some of the benefits would be like, right, anybody that's a content creator, the channel will be advertised, all the members' channels will be advertised. Because, you know, if somebody's trying to be a data engineer or data scientist, I don't want them to come to me, right? I don't want them to come to me, because people ask me questions about that all the time. I just don't have any experience there. Or somebody is asking about GRC, right? They go ahead and go to Professor Blackout. Somebody asking about development, right? Then they go into the Lou or something, right? So I think that that's an opportunity for everybody's channels to be advertised, having discussions on current topics and career experiences, right? So people don't feel like they're just in a bubble. Because sometimes I think that a lot of the content that's put out online, it's just boom, 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 boom. It's more advertising and promoting for people to buy a service or purchase a class or sign up for a membership or something, where sometimes you really don't hear so much about just what's the day-to-day, the career experiences. And another one would be collaborating on tech type of projects. So, you know, when there's like an overall, like an application being developed, there aren't just software developers or coders that are involved, but like people who are doing GRC, right? Governance, risk, and compliance. People who are doing the testing for it, right? People who are understanding the analytics behind it. So, you know, it's a lot of different things. So maybe even starting a GitHub where we are adding projects that will be able to contribute. And I kind of got that idea because it's like, I've been reading this book or going back over this book. It's called "Be So Good That They Can't Deny You" or something. It's by the same person who made that, who wrote the book, the Deep Work book, Cal Newton or Newport or something like that. But one thing they talk about is that career capital, right? Having things within your career that you can point to that allow you more autonomy, control, and it's one other thing, right? And like power or something. But I think that collaborating on projects and creating projects for needs and goals of organizations and companies, that's something that'll allow you to, these are things that can build up your resume. These are things that can be put on to, hey, this is a passion project. This is something that I'm working on, even just outside my regular 9-to-5 or day-to-day tech job. So that's my overall thoughts about the TechAvengers. And I already got a YouTube channel and email thing about it, but I'll pause there to see what do you all think, or even just some additional thoughts about it.
No, I like it, because my thing is, I think the part that's for me that's really missing in this space is those projects. Everybody's got a lot of experience, but when you're trying to get a job, you need some experience, and you get those to projects if you're not going to actually get them on the job. So I think that's 100%. A huge piece that was missing. So that was kind of my goal from GRC and security. What does those project looks like in the cloud? They got their AWS artifacts. BDB could build a pipeline. I could do the DevOps, then you run it, it'll tell you if it's FIPS compliant or FedRAMP compliant or HIPAA compliant, right? What encryption you need. But I think we need to do those projects, because that's really where you get your experience and really where the rubber meets the road.
100%. And, you know, for even people who are newer in the field, like I know in like software engineering and development, they a lot of times are saying like, hey, contribute to an open source project, and you can put that directly on your resume, or you can count that as some type of experience, even if you don't have work experience. So, you know, I think it's very, very valuable there. But B2B, I want to give you a chance to jump in there, man. Tell the people about you and maybe even your thoughts on what you heard so far.
What's up, Gabe? What's up, PBO?
Hey, what's up, man?
Thanks for having me up here, man. And when you come to the TechAvengers, I think it's a great idea for us to be able to talk about our different experiences and being able to promote each other. far too often. Like when you said you brought up the book "Be So Good That They Can't Ignore You," it reminds me of a book that I was reading called "Good Is Not Enough,"
Okay.
and in that it's talking about being in the corporate environment and being pretty much the best of the best. Because we talk, like, you may go on social media and then people will say, "Hey, just getting into tech," and then what happens is I watched a video that was saying, okay, you can get in there, but you start out at the lowest level of value that you can bring, which is somebody who can just do a specific thing or the implementation.
Right.
And then you go on, and then you can have somebody who can unify, somebody like a manager like you, Gabe, and then you have somebody with good communication skills, which is like to the market has the highest level of value. So being
Right.
able to have people who are in different levels of their lives, you're able to showcase all these different types of hierarchies.
Mhm.
So I do like the idea of the Tech Avengers, because I think like right now, like I'll be part of the implementation, Gabe
Yeah.
unifying, and then also PBO at the communication level, because he's speaking with C-level executives to the point where he can just talk about, oh, I might become a CISO next year or something. I don't know.
Right.
Like he can just, he might go golfing with people and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
with that, there's different levels of tech, different types of tech, like how you brought up earlier in the beginning of
Mhm.
this video, talking about cybersecurity. But then you have people who talk about data, people who
Yeah.
talk about, AI. So
Mhm.
I think that,
Yeah, because you see a lot of like there's a lot of channels, like especially like software engineering, or even cybersecurity channels that go into like the technical details. Like this is how you hack this web application, or this is how you solve this particular leak code problem. But you don't see a whole bunch of like, hey, this is how to navigate the tech industry with like networks. This is how to navigate the tech industry with building up your projects or even your social media presence, right? These things are also very important to that question that you just mentioned, getting into tech. So I think that's probably the gap that we're looking to fill there. Yeah.
mhm.
And two is,
Yes.
and I think B2B hit it, and he's been hitting on it a lot, is we the new crypto, man. Get into tech in 3 months, make 500,000, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing I kind of worries me about. Everybody's got the hot new thing, the hot new
Right.
project, the hot new course, the hot
Mm-hmm.
new membership, right? But when you look at it, we all know we like that's a little thin there, player. That don't really gonna work in real life. You
Right.
got a 1% chance. Like now you're gonna have some outliers where you might make a half, but that's
Mm-hmm.
small. That's small.
Right.
Chime in on that B2B. You were you were
Yeah.
you were jumping in on that. I like that
Yeah.
where you were going with
Right.
that, man.
And something that Gabe brought up previously as well, so PBO was talking about getting into tech and then in 3 months and then making $500,000.
Right.
Um, Gabe brought up that, well, maybe some people are overemployed, having
Mm-hmm.
multiple jobs, and then that could be a viable way of making more money.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of risk involved. You do run the risk of burning out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's a good thing that you can get, benefits, more money, stuff like that. But Gabe, do you mind if I read something to you? I got
Sure.
a message that I
Yeah.
posted in the Discord,
Yeah.
and this is coming from a company. This is actually coming from like a LinkedIn or Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
and is coming from the HR department. So it says,
Sure.
"I'm reaching," and actually I can share it with you if you
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Is that overemployment one?
Yeah, it's talking about overemployment.
I
You
think
mind
that
if
one fake.
I?
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, but feel free to share it.
Okay, I can share
You
it.
think it's fake? You think it's
I
fake,
think it
yeah?
might be fake, man. I ain't gonna lie. We can talk
All
about it. We
right.
can chat on it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, let me bring this over right quick, and then I can share it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know when you see it. So that way, when I read it, that way it's
Yeah.
not like
People
you
can
don't
see
have
it.
anything to show with it.
Let me say what up to a couple of people in the chat, and then we'll definitely get right into it. So I see that Octavia said those school projects. I think that Operational Tech Takeover. He says I like BART a little better. You get the real time results from Google for free instead of paying for the premium on ChatGPT. That's true because in ChatGPT you got to pay for the premium in order for it to search the web. Okay. A couple of other things, those school projects count too. That's true. So those
True.
real life projects, those school projects, those all can be used as experience. Zone is here. He said, "Go back to help desk solution." Sure,
Settle
you can go back
down.
to help desk. Justin Williams says, "What's up, y'all?" He says, "Joining late. Welcome, Justin. Thank you for joining the chat. People are dumb in tech. Yep, we sure are." Atkins said, "We wait on the membership to enhance our contributions in the tech space. People,
That's me.
they want the pit. That was for you. Still in." Bachelor's degree to make six figures. Zone is on his zoning. He said, try to interview people from Reddit. He says, I saw that post. Welcome to everybody who just joined in. I just want to say hello and thank you for being here. Want to put this. Boom. B2B is right over back to you.
All right. So I
in a bit too.
Can I zoom in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little hard to read.
Well, I was going to read it to you.
Okay.
So that way, we can go through it. So it says, I'm reaching out today to address a critical issue that has recently come to our attention. It has been discovered that several employees have been engaged in dual employment, working for both blank, redacted, and another company. Simultaneously, this practice not only breaches the terms of your employment contracts with redacted company, but also constitutes a serious legal infringement, potentially amounting to fraud. To address this matter, we have taken the necessary step to filing police reports against the individuals involved. This action underscores our commitment to maintaining legal and ethical standards in our workplace. We understand that circumstances can lead to complex decisions. Therefore, we are offering a 24-hour window for anyone involved in similar activities to come forward voluntarily. If you report such an instance to HR within the time frame, we will handle it internally and refrain from involving legal authorities. Additionally, if you receive any allegations or information regarding dual employment involving our employees, it is imperative that you report it to HR immediately. This ensures we manage these issues promptly and effectively. We take this matter seriously and expect all employees to adhere to the highest standards of integrity and compliance. Your cooperation is crucial in maintaining a transparent and ethical work environment. Now, when I read this, I feel as though they're trying to set people up as well. When they say go to HR and pretty much tell on yourself in order for them to handle it internally, so pretty much fire you is most likely what they're going to say. And there's really no way of being able to know for certain if somebody is dual employed unless
that's false. B2B. Go ahead and finish. That's false. They can find that out.
Okay. So PPO, how can they find that out?
HR, when you do a background check, especially in LexisNexis, it shows your current employment.
Really?
Yeah, I do
LexisNexis.
It's for fraud. So I used to do taxes. So when you file your taxes, sometimes we ask you what your last job is. So it shows you your job, and I think it shows you your current employment. Because if you Google it, a couple companies caught people that way. But I think you're right. I think they're trying to flesh people, but they can find that out. Now, you might get sued for overreach, though, because I think that could be a privacy on your part, because I don't know what company you work for will be looking for your background, but they can find that out.
So PBO, I think that, so when you say that they run a background check on somebody, right, they usually do that in the beginning of the hiring process, right? But do people feel as though they can do a background check
anytime they want to? Because Gabriel, you got to get rejudicated every 5 years for your security clearance. Like I think
that's if you're getting a security clearance though.
Right. But I think that applies to you can do that for a regular business too, right? Ain't nothing precluding you for doing a background check like you were doing a security clearance. I don't think anything precluding you for doing that.
I think it's a little less common.
Way less common.
You work, because if you're working for government agencies, right, you all are under government regulations. But if you're just working regularly for a private company,
and two is we've been throwing that around. If you're doing your job, why would they even check? right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, this B2B, you going through a contractor company to work for the contractor company don't give a shit long as they getting paid, right? So we talking about something specific. I think if you're talking about a very large company, and a lot of CEOs say they those companies where the big CEOs say they didn't like it, they gonna do that background check because they're trying to root that out. I don't think for middle to small companies, I don't think you'll see it, but some of the big guys who was talking about, oh, you're stealing, blah blah, those got those, and they got the money to do it because background checks aren't cheap, right? Even the cheap ones aren't cheap. So I don't think it'll be a ton of that. I do think this company's trying to get you to snitch on yourself, but they can do a background check and figure you out.
Okay.
Let me tell you where the biggest issue is for me. Is that if y'all see here, it says it has been discovered that several employees have been engaged in dual employment, working for blank and blank, right? So they first say that they knew who it was. They said it's been discovered, but then later it says that, what does it say? Therefore, we are offering a 24-hour window for anyone involved in similar activities to come forward voluntarily. I thought you already knew who it was. If like, why would you? If they say they know who the people are, discovered that there are people working for these, and then they say we understand that the circumstances, therefore we are offering a 24-hour. I don't think this sounds like a email scam. This sounds like a phishing scam, me at least, or some method of intimidation.
Facts. But the other part on there too is, like we said, and somebody talked about it, is you put your employment on your taxes, so a lot of times your business can see the taxes you filed in there. Once again, I think that's overreach. So I don't. They would have to physically look for, and I think the majority of your businesses, as long as you're doing a good job, I don't think it's going to look for that.
Yeah. Most won't. Yeah.
Jamie Dimon for Chase, he specifically had to come out of his mouth. They work for $1 trillion. They gonna do that background check. So like I said, I think it's once again, it's a viable way to make money. And two is, depending on the contract you sign, it's not illegal, depending on how your contract is. Now, if you work in the same industry and you stepping on each other, you could be given competitive advantage. But if you're doing cybersecurity and banking and cybersecurity in hospitals, those wouldn't necessarily overlap, right?
Yeah.
So,
and PPO, can I ask a quick question?
Always.
So, when you say that they can look up your previous employer or your current employer, with that, what do you say about the people who say lie on the resume? Because if they do a background check and then they look to see your current and or previous employer and they see that you're not employed, then
but
you know.
But we done had this conversation, and I'm on the opposite side. I don't think you should lie, but we know there's a certain segment of IT that lies on their resume, and they seem to get ahead, and they seem to get in there, right? I don't think you should do it, but once again, there was a big discussion about a certain person, and I told him to his face, I said, I don't think you should do it. But if you ever get stuck and you call PBO gonna help you. But no, I don't think you should.
Well, you might get to a point where PBO can't help you.
Right? PBO cannot. My Rolodex is big. I can call you. I got people I can call. But I see what you. But
you call me, I'm firing it. No, just
right. I know where you stand on that. But so two is, I think people get desperate, and two is a lot of times when you see other people getting ahead that's not qualified, right? That makes you make bad decisions. I don't think you should do it. But I understand why you would do it. And PBO gonna help all the young brothers, and I'm gonna send them to y'all. Y'all better help them because I'm the oldest Avenger. Go ahead, B2B. What else you got? That's my take on that. Go ahead.
So I did, because that was one of the subjects that I did want to talk about. Right, I think that there is this idea within overemployment that they almost oversell it to certain points. But I think that when you look at other posts, so this is the overemployment Reddit subreddit. So they have different posts, and I think that this one is actually really good, and I'll read it really, really quickly. This one says, it speaks about never forget this when you're overemployed. It says, play for the team, but be loyal to the last name on the back of the jersey. It says, take care of your mental health, play politics sometimes, but never put any of your jobs, J's is the code word for jobs, in your top priority over your hobbies, marriage, plans with siblings, right? Or other things, anything that goes into that category. He says, I just found out a month ago a distant colleague was let go on the same day he was supposed to go on vacation for 2 weeks, visiting his mom back home, because she was sick and going to the hospital. She has no insurance, and lots of her days is day-to-day expenses. They were not covered, and especially not the heart procedure. So he was expected to cover a large portion of that. Not only he is going home jobless, but he had no warning. And says, bam, on the first morning, he was packing to leave. He received the call, and it was his only job. Companies do this first thing in the morning. You are attending a status meeting. Next thing, hiring calls, and your access is shut off. And they said, finally, I want this to be on your minds, guys. Stay loyal to the only company who's going to do you right, and that's yourself. And I think that really puts a lot of things into perspective as it concerns unemployment, because they always talk about, a lot of times they sell overemployment as money, financial freedom, but they don't really a lot of times focus in on the things that your jobs will try to take away from you in many cases, because they might, right? Because they're taking away your time, they're taking away your energies, they're taking away your at times abilities to be truthful, right? I kind of wanted to discuss some of the red flags, right? What are some of the overall, not say red flags, but what are some ideas behind overemployment that you think people oversell? And I'll start off with one of the first ones, and then I'll just we could discuss whatever. One of them is, I think overemployment is sold as a one size fits all, including the type of lifestyle and context that comes with the 1, 2, or 3 jobs at once. And I think that a lot of times people go into it without really educating themselves about what that lifestyle change is really going to be, like working around the clock, working in between meetings and canceling one and starting another. And
you can have 2 meetings at one time. Go ahead.
Exactly. So what's another one of the oversells, or do y'all want to discuss any of that? Yeah.
I think, like you said, I think they oversell the money, but there's a price to pay to get that money, right?
Yeah.
And 2 is they make it sound easy, and we know, especially IT, remote jobs are super hard to get. So now you're talking about getting 2 or 3. Man, those things, I paid a price to get the one I got. But 2, going back to what you said, I was on the bench for 7 months. I did a video, PB on the bench. I knew I was going to get fired, but long story short, I thought I was going to get 3 more months in March. I've been there like forever, so I thought they would give me a year. They called me in a meeting on Zoom, and when I hit the Zoom, HR was in there. I was like, damn, I know what this is about. But long story short, but I knew it was coming, and I was already interviewing, right? So I had some stuff lined up, but your job really don't give a shit about you. You are a resource. Me and B2B had this conversation one time. I told him, you're just a resource, young man. Don't get all cuddly and talk about they love you, man. Everybody, and Gabe seen this. I seen 60 consultants walked out on a Friday because the government decided to cut their contract. And they work for body shops, and B2B with body shops. If you don't have a contract for your body, your ass is fired. So they'll walk you out that same day, right? So that's both sides of it, right? That's the pros and cons for a company you work. And 2 is you doing overemployment. And 2 is, we talked about the B2B. There's different levels to consulting too, right? Are you a body shop, or you a senior guy like PBO, where I'm getting benefits, I get everything the damn employees get, right? So you got to understand those different levels too. But 2, shout out to overemployment though, is if you can get, and a buddy of mine's doing it, and he showed me, man, he got 4 computers. I think he makes $450. He's a manager, so he delegates all this. He's like, dude, I got 3 years and I'm done. So I mean, so if you can get it, man, and you
4 computers, just sprawl out across.
It's on a 4 day. And I asked him how I do. He said, man, I'm an individual contributor too. The other ones, I'm a manager, so I delegate the work and just run a meeting. And I got good employees, so I tell them, do your work. If you got a problem, don't call me. So he had, but now and I trust him too. We go way back. I was like, he got me thinking. I'm like, well, shit, if he making 4, I can make 3. Shit, but that'd be a different discussion. But that's me on my soul. So that's positive medicine. And 2 is he's got 3 kids in a big university, and I always see him at these sporting events flying. He said, "Because I got 4 computers." So, I mean, thank you. So like I said too, is PBO ain't got much longer, man. If I could get 2 years with making 350, man, I'm done, man. I can cash it out, but I'm gonna see what B2B said with the young guy think on it, man. I'm giving it to him.
What you think about it?
Yeah, PBO. When
Overselling, overemployment. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, when you brought up how the companies, they think of you as a resource, and I was like, I didn't think of it at first like that, but then when you made it the exact same thing that you said would happen happened.
Fine.
And
hold on, B2B. Say it one more time with your chest for me, man. PBO gave good advice.
All right, PBO gave some great advice. Is that it's true that companies do see you as a resource.
Right.
And then when you see the over monetization of people talking about overemployment, right? You see all these people online, they're talking about how easy it is to get into tech. Despite how difficult it is, even when you have experience, even when you have a degree, internships, you can have all these qualifications, and it still can be difficult for you. But then they sell it to people who may not even be into tech, and how easy it is, and how, like, I saw another post in the Discord where he was talking about how to land a cybersecurity job in 45 days.
45 days.
Come on, man.
And then. So, this kind of downplays the amount of work involved to be able to get up to that point. But when you see that, okay, it's so easy to get into tech, you can get 2 and 3 jobs like that. But, and then
that's
just like PBO said, these people are trying to get remote jobs. That's the only way that you can actually do multiple jobs. But these companies are pushing to get people back into the office. Even some companies 5 days out of the week. So completely getting rid of remote work altogether in some companies.
So that's a question, right? How do you, so say for instance, you got two jobs and they're both 100% remote. This was probably during COVID, right? Because overemployment had grown in its popularity over the pandemic. Say for instance, one of those jobs is telling you to come in 3 days a week or 4 or 5 days a week, like you mentioned, B2B. What do you do then? Like, how do you navigate that? You just got to drop that second job and change your lifestyle, or like what are you doing? Like, so it's like, that's what I'm saying. It can be oversold based upon the current context, because it's like, if you got to go in for these jobs and you can't be remote anymore, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Can I bring something up right quick too? Is that there's also somebody, there's a few people on Twitter who are overemployed, and they are saying, oh yeah, I was able to buy this brand new AMG vehicle and his new car and stuff like that, making 200 and something, like like $250,000 and stuff like that. And then they're outwardly saying that they're overemployed. Yeah. So it's kind of like making it easy if like a company can just take that away. If it's so easy to get these jobs, so easy to make $250,000, they can just take that away at any time. Right. So, but when you say, going back to the part about the remote work, so I read an article recently and I'm coming out with a video about it, talking about 41% of people who are polled on monster.com said that they would quit their jobs if they were to get rid of remote work, if they had to go into the office full time.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, so if they were to go into the offices that often, these people are like, hey, I want to be able to take care of my kids, be able to improve my health. Now I had to deal with going it through the all these positive benefits. You don't want to replace them with a whole bunch of negative things. Right. So you see the argument saying that, hey, remote work is here to stay, and then there are these companies that are still adamant about going into the office, like Elon Musk saying the remote work is a moral issue.
Facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think about the PPO?
I seen that. I did a video for me, and me and Gabe chopped it up. I think you got a bifurcation of the big companies. If I'm Microsoft and I'm paying you $345 or Amazon, I want to touch your ass. If I'm a small startup, it's like data centers. I'm not letting you buy a data center anymore, and I'm not letting you buy real estate. So depending, if you're a software company, all my people are gonna be remote. I can get the top people because they used to be working remote. You got Jira, right? So why would I let them buy real estate, right? So I think you got the old guard and the new guard, and I did this one. Shout out to Anton Daniels. It's called the Doom Loop. You got real estate downtown that you got tax abatements for. If you don't fill that up in the company, you got to pay us back because we got Salesforce in Indiana. We gave them like a $500 million tax break. If you don't fill those offices downtown, we want our money back, right? Yeah. So, but two is if you get less people downtown, you got less taxes. So now you're in this kind of weird loop. Right, to kind of figure that out. So I think you got the old guard versus the new guard. So I work remote. I took little less money, but I get to be home. I only drove 4,000 miles last year. Yeah. Right. So there's benefits. So I think it's the big tech companies are going to bring you back because they believe you get synergies when you get in the office. Blah, blah. But if you're a small startup or a small company and you were like me, we do an old time business. We all work remote. We don't need to. We're not trying to get synergies, man. We just doing a basic old time business. So I think it depends on the size of the company. But I think the smaller companies coming up, they're not going to let you get real estate. Go ahead, Gary.
Right. And I was going to say, and I think that one thing that also is with this, as Free Zone Lou mentions here, it says it's business, nothing personal. It says put yourself first. Well, and that's another thing that is a little bit difficult at times to do when you're overemployed. It becomes difficult to put yourself first, right? It's like working multiple jobs at one time. It could become your entire life. It can easily become your entire life where you are living to work rather than living at all. Because you become really just an employee. Like you're just working and working and working, and you're taken away from your personal time, and it's taken away from you putting yourself first. Your health is getting sacrificed. Your family life is getting sacrificed. You don't really have no hobbies. You're always cramped up in this damp, dark office, and you're always in front of a computer screen. So maybe your sight is starting to go away. You're probably always looking for a quick meal as you're going from one meeting to another meeting. So your health is probably sacrificed because quick food is typically not healthy food, right? So you got a lot of things that is not allowing you to put yourself first when you're working 3, 4, 5 jobs, sometimes even 2. So I think that's another important consideration there. Yeah.
Can I add on to that, or ask more so a question too? Because since you've been able to get past the individual contributor portion of things, how would that even work if you're given more responsibilities as you go up and get promoted more? But how can you have multiple positions if you're a manager and then also working as an individual contributor at multiple companies? Like, I know that
you can do anything.
I know that the longer you work at a company, the easier things will get for you and stuff like that. But
you get a lot of leeway too. You get a lot of leeway.
So like when at the same time you have so you get more autonomy in the work that you do. You're over people. You're counseling. You're dealing with, but you also have a lot more responsibility. If something fails, it's on you. The directors, senior directors, VPs, the customer is coming to you as the point of contact for that particular work. So,
Gabe, I'm interrupting you, but so you delegating that to B2B, you delegating that to me to make sure it works. Now, if we have a problem, we come to you, right? You delegating that to the people who work for you, right?
Am I delegating certain work? Yeah.
So a lot of times the responsibility is on you, right? Because you got to make, if they fail, it rolls up to you, right? But a lot of times you delegate a lot of work, right?
So it also all depends on the type of. So it also depends on the type of team that you have. You might have a team of people who might not necessarily be a senior, people who might be junior and they need counseling. They might need a little bit of hand-holding. You might need to lay out the framework or the methodology that you want them to do in order to perform something. A lot of times you are QA too, right? Especially in consulting, all deliverables go through me before they are presented to the customer. So I got to review everything. I got to become the spell checker. I got to become the context creator.
Right.
I got to make it clean. I got to shine up that deliverable before it goes to the customer. That's a lot of responsibility, because if something comes back and they're like, we didn't like that, or you repeated something there, or if they have any issues, that goes through you first as well. So more delegation, but at the same time, way more responsibility.
Yeah, but you a big company. Where's y'all processes, procedures, and methodologies? When I work with the big companies, I had to put it in their methodologies, their framework. Every presentation had to be in the right template, right? So a lot of that shit was pre-shined before I set it up. They got on me, hey, people, you didn't use the right template. I'm like, well, damn, what's the template, right? So a lot of that's pre-shine. But two is and two, I want to just run back, and that's what I was telling B2B is a lot of times I think companies fake you. They're going to give you the company pizza, you the employee of the month, they give you some new sneakers and sign them up. So you think y'all family till your ass get fired. So you got to be careful, man. So I think a lot of companies, they want to, we're a family. Not really. So
no, we're not a family. No.
You try to trick me, man.
And I think Free Zone Loon brings up a good question here. It says, is there a period in your career or a season in your career where overemployment is better for you overall, or is always better to take your time throughout your career? I think I would just say it shortly. I think early in your career, when you don't have a lot of life responsibilities, when you have way more energy, when you're okay to just jump on a flight and be across the world tomorrow, I think that's a really good time for you to really explore and do overemployment and contracting type of work, more like temporary work where you're gaining and building your skills and experience. So I'll say more early in your career, maybe after year 2 or 3, and like overemployment where you can be able to invest your time in different places, I think is probably the most valuable. But for a period of time, I don't think that's you can make it a career, but I would say over a short period of time, maybe a couple of years, I would say is there. But what do you guys think?
My take on that is, and I disagree a little bit with Gabe, is now for your career, if you're young, definitely get with those big accounting firms, those big tech firms. You're gonna work 12-hour days, but once you get those on your resume, but overemployment, if I thought about it, for me, it's when you get a little older, because I understand this like the back of my hand. So you're not gonna give me something that's gonna take a lot of my time because I've been doing this too long. And Gabe, now once you do something for 10 years, I can do that shit with my sleep. You want to do an IT audit on a FedRAMP going to the IRS, man, I can do that with my eyes closed, right? So I can start turning stuff. So if I want to do 2 or 3 jobs with my experience, I think that would be a little easier for me. I don't want to be learning and trying to do 3 jobs at the same time. So I think that's my only pushback to Gabe. I'm going to give it to the young superstar B2B, see what he got on.
What do you think, B2B?
I might not be able to answer this question, to be honest with you.
No, it's all good. Yeah. And we have some other comments here. Atkins says, I have no issues working 2 jobs, one during the week and one for the weekend at the best, because I work to be effective at my job and not distracted. So maybe that's a strategy too, right? Having not a weekday job and a weekend job. So, hey, that might be something. I think that as long as you are putting yourself first, you are allowing yourself to take time off, right? That's another thing, right? People don't talk about time off. Who really talks about time off in these tech jobs? Nobody really talk about taking time off. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually. So I actually have 4 weeks worth of PTO saved up because I really don't take time off that often.
Yeah.
And my manager said, no, you need to go ahead and take this time off. Making it mandatory, I take it off because you lose it if you don't use it. And so I'm just gonna take off December to kind of get things together. But one thing I wanted to bring up too, kind of going back to the management portion of things, when you say that you delegate your work and stuff like that, at somebody on my part of the hierarchy as an individual contributor. Sometimes I'll run into issues where I just won't get access to things, or I won't be able to do specific things because I need somebody else to do something, or I need to have an ask. And I ran into this issue recently where I was, hey, I need to be able to, like, my manager gave me a task to do. I needed to ask access from a completely different team to gain access to this software. And they just took their time. They rejected my request, all kind of stuff. And I was like, wait a second now. Like, they told me that this is the right way to doing it. I asked my team lead, because I didn't want to go straight to my director to ask. Asked my team lead, he said, hey, emailing is not going to work. You need to send these people ping on like the chat. Yeah. And then I just ended up going to my manager, my director, and he had to kind of just say, hey, look, give him access to this. And because when they see that name, it has pull to it, director of IT or something like that.
Yeah. That happens all the time. Sometimes, so that's the escalation thing, right? Yeah. That's escalating to more senior management in order to get things moving. Because I've had to do that for my people too, right? So it's like if they are noticing that they are not getting something from HR, something from their team leads on whatever projects they're working on, if the customer's being difficult, I got to step in. That's the time that I got to step in and really manage those communications and engagement. And my manager also does the same thing for me. Like I know that. So I'm big on and I'm happy I don't work in no offices because I'm big on pulling up, right? Pulling up to I'll pull up to a cubicle, not on anything aggressive, but to
I'm aggressive.
Not in the office because you know how it is, right? You just what's up type like at a cubicle that could be taken in differently. But I will pull up, like first I'll call, of course, right? Or I don't even like email really all the time. If I'm really trying to address an issue, I'll message on Teams or something. Then if I don't get nothing back, I'll call. If I don't get nothing back, I'm pulling up. I'm at your cubicle sitting at the door. I was like, I was just waiting for you to come back. I know that we were having some miscommunication there. Let's see if we can like talk it out over lunch. You want to go down to the cafe and maybe I'll get you a coffee type of thing, right? So I will pull up in that I will corporately pull up on you, right? To try to really try to get it to where we're able to work better together. And there's a lot of nonverbal that you get from pulling up corporately, because you can see if like what's the problem, what's the tension type of thing there. So I don't know what y'all think about corporate pull up.
The reason I frown up is because I'm supposed to be the bad guy. I'm the heavy. So when I come up, I'll be like, the CISO ABC told me to come see you. I'm trying to keep us both out of problems. So what is your problem? Or I'm gonna have to escalate it. And I'm coming up aggressive. I'm talking like I'm screaming. So what do I need to do? Because if not, we both gonna be in trouble, man. You know who sent me. I'm the guy. So what? Like you said, what's the problem? I'm not talking about miscommunication. No, I was quite clear on Teams. So I'm trying to figure out what the issue is. Just let me know. I can escalate it, man. If you want us to get both in trouble, I'd be more than happy to escalate it. So what do I need to do so you can get what you need to do? Right? Do I need to have the CISO come over here? What do you need to happen, man? Most people don't mess with me after I do that a couple times. They'll be like, oh, no, PBO coming up. This is going to be a problem. Because a lot of times, too, I walk over there with the CISO. He sent me. I'm just not coming over here, man.
When you say that PBO and Gabe, it reminds me something I heard a little while ago is that people are a lot more meek when you talk to them individually. Right. Like if you talk to them within a group, they kind of, they may say something, spicy or something like that, or then you're like, okay, well, how about this? Let me, we'll talk about this later. Get on a call with them, and then now the tone is completely different because you're talking to them one-on-one.
Yeah.
And two
very different.
And we talked about that microaggressions. I'm trying to nip that in the bud. So until I know you, I'm setting tone. We used to talk about the DOD because I work with a lot of military. You got to set the tone. If you don't, they're going to keep trying to run over their ass. So the first 2-3 times, I'm trying to step on your neck. So you know I'm about this life. Don't be playing with me. Do not play with me. So now I be set tone, man. So DOD was like that because you got a lot of alpha dudes. If they start running over you, you're going to have a problem. So I just start setting tone. Even my big boss says like, "Hi, Tyre, you got to set tone or you're going to have a problem." So I just kept that my whole career, man.
That makes a lot of sense because I remember, quick story. I remember I had another task to do, this big initiative that the company was working on. And my manager asked me to speak with a person on another team. And this was like, moving data from, one place to the other, but also tracking whenever data was deleted from the database. So because that will make sense to be able to track to see what changes were made. I brought this up to somebody on this other team. He was another manager, and I said, hey, I was trying to see, because we get the data from you guys. Can you give us like a counter or tell us which records were deleted from the database? And then he was like, well, why? Why do you want that? Right. I said, well, my director asked, and then
your tone ain't right, PDB. I don't even like your tone. Go ahead. I don't like your tone, man.
So I explained to him I actually had a whole list of notes and bullet points as to why we would need this, and he was like, no, we there's more work on us. We're not going to do it.
Right.
So then I said, okay, well, let me go back to my director and let him know that it didn't work. I let my director know, and then what happened was somebody else on my team on the same level as me asked the same person the same question, and you know what happened? Wow. They went ahead and did it.
Facts.
But it wasn't somebody more senior than me. It was just somebody else on my team that asked the same thing.
And two is, and I've learned, and I know Gabe learned this, is especially when I'm going to another team and I'm gonna cause them to work, I need to have a justification from my manager. I'm security. I always say this fair rep requirement, we got to keep these tracking for the rules. So if we need to go back and do research, anybody deleted, you need to put that in the audit table. So I usually says, so if I'm gonna ask you to do something, I'm having a justification from my boss, or usually I got security requirements saying we got to do this because of this. Now sometimes they'll come back and be like, well, we gonna need a whole new man person. Well, you gotta let my boss know these are the requirements, man. So if you tell me you're gonna need more resources, then you got to give me that number, and I can send that up the chain. But for per requirement, this is why I need it, and this is how I need it, and this is when I need it. All right, so BDB, you got to stick your chest out, man. Put some bass in it, man. Right. Start yelling at people, man. But those are Gabe, no, he smiled, because a lot of times is when you give one team money, they're gonna be like, we need another person. I'm like, dude, I can write this shit in 10 minutes myself, man. What are you talking about? Right? And sometimes too is B2B, I have that script already written, man. So I won't have to hear. Here it is, man. I already got the code, man. You don't even have to write it, man. So here you go, man. So it's just stuff over the years you just know you need to have, because people are always trying to get more money, or a lot of people just push back because, man, they don't want to do no more work and they lazy. So
yeah, it could be difficult. Kind of navigating that. So
no, it ain't difficult. Just start running over people, man. That's all I say.
Running over people, that's a thing, man. Some people just run people over. And they just get to where they want to be.
Oh yeah, my boss used to get me, because I work with this ex-Navy SEAL. He'd be like, PBO, you got to go in there and step on him. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to be a little nice. Like, no, don't do that, because you got to set tone. So every thing, I used to go on meetings and people used to sigh, because they were like, this dude gonna be a problem. I come to meet everybody's like, I'd be like, I'm not doing anything today. Yeah, everybody take a deep breath. I'm here as a friend. But once you set tone, B2B, a lot of people gonna leave you alone. Man. That's gonna take care of 80%. You're gonna always have 20% that's gonna get. You set tone, you're gonna get rid of 80% of your problems, man. I promise you.
Yeah,
I gotta work on that then.
Hey, I did want to move into just. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, B2B.
Real quick, I just wanted to say this too, is that it's something that it's a skill that I had to acquire, right? When you say talking about setting tone, because I remember. Earlier on in my career, when I was an intern and when I was, first starting my first job, I had issues like that where it's like, you may ask something and then people just say no. Fine. Or, and it'd be like it's not like you're asking something, a big ask or anything. Yeah. But, like being able to set the tone to where, okay, you get what you want. And I know when I was going into it, I would always be like a little bit of a fear that, okay, well, they'll just talk to my boss and get me fired or something like that. And then, but that's what you get when you first starting out, because you have that imposter syndrome. So,
they might. There's been circumstances. So, like, I've worked as contractors for different companies. And, like, what's so interesting is I've always had this type of demeanor, no matter where I worked. Like, and I pick up on, like, different, like, energies or little microaggressions here and there. So, I don't really I wouldn't say I don't let things go, but I don't allow people to kind of step on me, or like, I'm going to your boss and this and that. I get that paper trail together. I get our communications whatever communications that we've had. I document things. I make sure that I got all my ducks in a row. And also at the same time, I'm making sure that I'm talking to recruiters for different organizations just in case some bull crap go down and they try to. So I've been in situations where I know that people haven't wanted me there and they've worked to try to get me out. But at the same time, it's chess at the same time. So I'm already ready, right? Because if I'm noticing that they're kind of creating some type of momentum and creating some negative perception of me in the work environment, and that perception is successful, I'm like, on to the next one. Because I'm not about to deal with this. I'm not about to deal with this. And I've done that multiple times. And it's not like I'm like fighting anybody or creating some. They just don't really like that you have pushback for what they're doing or what they're saying or the direction of the project. So they want to kind of like lord over everything. And I'm like, are we trying to be effective or are we trying to go with preferences? Like I've been in meetings where I'm like, I think that's more of a preference than that of the something that has some backing with data and information to say, hey, this is a good solution. So, I dealt with all types of things. So I definitely understand what you mean B2B, and it will take practice, right? In implementing that throughout your. But I did want to get on this subject. Okay. Anything on that before we jump to the next one?
Just super quick on that. Yeah. A lot of times when I do that, I got the backing of my management because they trust me, right? So they be like, make this happen, man. Like Gabe's super busy. Like I work for a guy like Gabe, like I trust you, man. That's why I hired you. Go make this happen. Right. Okay. I got the green light. Okay. I'm swinging on everybody. Right. So it's not like I'm making this up. They trust me because Gabe I had a boss. I used to go back to him. He told me, I pay you and I trust you. I got 10 other people I'm worried about. If you got a problem, come back to me. Right. So I got the green light. I just start swinging on people. Right. So.
Yep. That's what it is. And you got to get somebody above you to be an advocate for you in many cases.
Oh, yeah. And I worked with people for 10 years at DOD, so they trust me.
Yeah, because a lot of times the people who might be against you, they have an advocate above you too. So you got to fight advocate for advocate.
Let's be real. And I tell people this, and I scare people. I'm gonna run it up the chain, and you're gonna run it up the chain. Let the big guys do it. I'm not scared of that, man. I'm gonna run up the chain. I'm letting you know I'm running up the chain. I'm not talking behind your back. You don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm telling the CISO, so you need to tell who you need to go, and they can talk. This ain't personal, man.
There it is at times, like,
but you know, it can feel personal. It can kind of feel personal after a while, though. With people, so I tell people, dude, we could go to lunch, but I'm running it up the chain, man. So
you got to play those politics at times, right? Because, and I think one of the best ways to do it, especially if you're new, never be afraid to speak at meetings. Never be afraid to speak at meetings in front of people who are more senior than you, because. If you're speaking, if you're engaging, if you're driving something, the project to a solution in front of people who are decision makers within a company, then you're making an impression, right? So if somebody comes to them about you, their idea about you would be like, this person is doing their thing in the meetings. They're driving this, and so they're conflicted. If somebody brings something negative to you, to them, compared to their impression of you. When they've been able to, so always speak up, always speak your piece for sure.
Yeah,
actually, I don't even know if we'll be able to get to the next one, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, even if you're nice, you can still run into the same issues.
You're gonna have you gonna have more issues if you're nice, because people try you when they're nice and they gonna push you, man.
Choose not to be nice. Choose not to.
Yeah, because people gonna try you, man. People gonna try you regardless. So if you're nice, you really gonna get more pushback. Most people they gonna run up the chain and talk about me behind my back.
Yeah.
Before they but now you go
being mean. Be a cooperative. Be a cooperative coworker, but don't be being nice. Nah, they're gonna eat you.
Many things in life.
What I usually do is, it's weird. I crush a couple people, then I come and pay the nice guy. I know this is a problem. I don't want to bring this up in a meeting. I'm letting you know before the meeting starts, so you can look it up, so you don't even look bad. I have people out there hanging, and they had no idea with security questions. I'm like, this is the question I'm going to ask you. That means I'm throwing you a favor because I'm going to ask one for later. So I told her, you need to find this answer because you don't want to be looking stupid in this meeting, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can start, but you got to set tone first, man, before I start being nice.
Set that tone. Yeah.
Go ahead, Gabe.
No,
What's the
it's
next
just
one, man?
no. It's gonna take a minute. That might have to be the next stream. The next one was about vetting recruiters. I had a story. I got questions and everything.
Let's
So
do
that's
that
gonna
next
take
one.
forever.
That's a
That's
whole
gonna take
other
forever.
game, man. I don't get that's a
Yeah.
whole different game. I got like 4 of them calling me today, giving me
I
a
got a
headache
lot.
too. So
Man, I got
yeah.
I'll probably go live on like Friday, maybe like Saturday or Sunday or something. And then we can hit on that subject. Anything before we close out, because I don't really got the win for long streams. I don't really got it.
No 12-hour streams for you.
No, not
shout out to
me,
B2B, man. When he did that 30-hour stream, I was helping him. Shout out to the 30-hour
something
stream.
else. That's something else. So, thank you everybody for coming through. Thank you everybody for coming through. Like I said, this is Struggle Security. We were normalized struggling in cybersecurity. TechAvengers will be back probably Friday or sometime this upcoming weekend. Whoever want to come through, feel free to come through, pull up on the panel, pull up corporately, and pull up, maybe even
Set
pull up a
tone.
couple of jobs.
Set tone when you pull up now.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, all right, y'all. Have a good day, and I'm out.
See you.
I'm out. Peace.
I see you, man.